the biggest thing for me, honestly, man, is just really about how the calls are structured, right? If we think that the close rate is pretty accurate, now I know I got a message from Todd overnight, but if the close rate is relatively accurate, and
Yeah.
is it accurate around 15%?
Yeah, that sounds about right, man. It's quite low than what it should be. We know that.
Bro, it's cold, it's warm traffic. It's
I
business on
know.
easy mode.
That's low.
And this is where it's really interesting is like I know we come in with like different ideas, but like, oh, we want to launch a VSL. But like if we can't close cold warm, you're gonna get murdered on cold. Because the thing is cold is a 1 year commitment. And there's many,
Yeah.
many people that will have the same advice to me, which is when you make the decision to go cold, honestly, man, a lot of people turn back because it is that hard. Like it's very, very difficult. So that this is where like structures and scripts and processes and a bit of over engineering is kind of needed. That's why for me, like I almost over engineer a process first before I'd go backwards, um,
Mhm.
because it's fucking hard, and it's as hard as it gets. Because a lot of times, man, when you're running like a VSL funnel for context, you wouldn't even run it to a retargeting audience because it's kind of like inefficient. It's kind of like a bad way to spend money. You would just run it to pure cold audience. Same with your workshops.
Mhm.
If you want to get more
Mhm.
people to the workshop, it would just target a cold audience. And I say all this because like though then what will happen is you'll be on your workshops and you'll have people who don't even know you compared to what it is now. And I'm just thinking like long term. I'm thinking like 2028. It's like if we want to be ripping shit completely on that side and growing the audience, just like a Tony Robbins does, he's still hitting a cold audience somehow with his ads. So that's just for a little bit of context.
Sure.
And then same here with all the show rate stuff. I imagine you have thank you videos, but a lot of the times, including myself, these things just run out of date. They kind of get stale. There's improvements, which is good. So rebuilding the script or at least the outline, and then even looking at the pitch, so the way that the pitch is done on the documents. Um, that's that. And then the other side of it then is just a reactivation. So of all the other leads, how do we reactivate them? Because I know that was something that you guys weren't really doing. That's kind of it at a high
When you
level.
say reactivation, you know what we call that re-nurture. Is that what you mean?
Yes, but my fear is like when we're just email heavy based, people aren't really re-engaging, right? Is like
No.
my logic here is we pull these people back on a calendar, we get them on WhatsApp, whether that's a closer or a setter, depending on capacity. Ideally, it's a
Yeah.
setter, right? But if you don't have setters right now, we just somehow pull them back on a calendar, and then these guys they're coming back on, and that's
Yeah.
why I'm very curious to see like of these people how much of them are totally disqualified, because if they are DDD leads, well, they could have changed, right? This is the thing is like if it's been a year or even 6 months, they could become C leads, and if they're
Yeah,
C,
true.
we pull them back on the calendar. Like I have lots of guys who. So this is the thing with I know I'm fucking harping on, but like if you look at willingness and able, is like a lot of guys would be willing to work with you, willing and able, but they're not
Yeah.
able. So they're just like here right now. So we want to kind of get them at the right point where they have money and they're willing to work with you. They're going to be your best clients.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
and because
Where
you've
we
been,
struggle a little bit down, which you can relate to, is like with the closers, one thing I didn't expect, and you'll appreciate this, is that every closer has gone through a sales program. All right. So Jeremy Miner, Josh Lyons, pick whatever, doesn't matter who it is. And so those things are like religions. And so they come into your world, they're indoctrinated into a particular type of sales religion. And if you say to them, here's my script, a lot of them just push back and they're like, well, I do gap selling or I do whatever. And so that's where I've struggled a bit with the scripts is one, I didn't know what the right script was, but even if I did, they would go, well, no, that's not how Josh Lyons does it. He does objectionless, right?
yeah.
And so that's the objection I'm going to get from salespeople.
The only feedback on this is you just look at the data, which is like if you're a proper gun, you can do what you want, right? Matthew Ryder had a clip on this, which is the same as my approach. It's like Kobe can do whatever the fuck he wants because he's going to show up and smash it. So he can go he does what he wants from Monday to Friday because then when he hits the game, he's amazing. But if you're not amazing and you're high ego, then you look at the numbers and basically be like, right, man, like I know you have all these ideas in your brain, but objectively you're closing 1 out of 10 calls. So, and it's because of it's always financial qualification, right? Because the guys are like so ego driven, they don't want to ask the financial qualification questions. So I say all this because if we are able to identify based on the call, and you can send me some of the call recordings, like,
Yeah.
okay, that is showing up 3 out of 4 times. Let's solve it with this process. And you do need to get an idea of like people being like, okay, what you're doing right now isn't working. You know, the definition of like insanity. Here's how we can interject in this approach, and I can come in and help on this as well. And then just for context as well, like the sales coaching that we have, which is twice a week, depending on time zones, that's done with 7th level. Like Dan Van is from 7th. So he's very good at like, okay, great, you have a script for sure, but like you are still making all these fucking mistakes. And let's look at it.
Got it. Okay.
Cool.
So, man, I think we're on the same page with all this stuff, dude.
Yep.
We don't have to solve it all here and now, but I suppose the main context I wanted to give you, just to zoom all the way out, right?
Yeah.
So my number one problem right now is I need to make sure that I'm getting calls booked in a steady and reliable manner. Okay. So that's the biggest problem I have. And so right now I use $100 workshops and I use email launches to fill up that calendar. They're the only 2 things I have, which is a little bit unreliable and it's a little bit lumpy.
Question.
And so
is the workshop evergreen?
Yeah, I could say. I could suppose you could say they're evergreen. I mean, they're live with me, but we do repeat workshops. Yes.
Sorry, yeah. So they're not. It's not an evergreen workshop, which is on demand.
No, it's live with me every time.
Do you know Brooke Hiddink by any chance?
I don't know.
So Brooke is a good friend of mine. The story of me and Brooke is hilarious. We both left our job at the same time. Brooke has an evergreen VSL like this, like an evergreen workshop for $100 or even like free, and they sell it's high ticket ecom, so helping you sell saunas or some shit, and they have refined the workshop to turn it evergreen so that it's on demand and you can watch it whenever, and they do 6 million a month with this model.
Jesus Christ.
So they basically run that as a front end, and then when you sign up, you obviously get dialed, DM'd onto the call. And then they'll sell anywhere from like a 1K product, 2K product into like a 6K product, a 20K product. That architecture is actually very easy to set up once you have this. So I'm just thinking like maybe your best workshops could become evergreen. And there is something that can just be on demand basically. And they can buy it on demand too. You know, it doesn't have to be, you can still do the stuff live. I'm just thinking like, where do we get like legs out of this? And that's the ideal state, is that you can just, you know, fuck off for a weekend with the kids and family and not have to worry about this shit too much.
Yeah, the reason why I did it live is that there was a world where I tried the evergreen stuff. And as AI sort of became more and more like, show me that you're human, everything seems like bullshit. Also the Q&A as well, when people can ask questions live, it starts to build trust.
For sure.
So anyway, yeah, happy to look at evergreen.
Frequency?
That's just how we were doing it.
So
we repeat our best workshops like every 3 to 6 months, as you can imagine. And then we're constantly trying to get better and better. So like we run 2 a month. One is a proven one and one is an experiment. And then we're gradually just trying to get the library of workshops to be the best workshops that we have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, awesome. So twice a week, twice a month, and then it's all organic, man.
All organic, yeah. We don't do any paid ads or anything.
So how do you not fatigue the audience if it's kind of the same?
Well, because they're every 3 months, and honestly, we haven't run some of these for 6 months, we find that that's enough of a gap that they don't get fatigued. And also people are busy, so even if you have it once, like 70% of them don't even come because they're busy on that day. So when you run it the next time, they're not fatigued because they couldn't make the last one.
So they're not bi-weekly, sorry. You said every second week.
Yeah, they're every 2 weeks, yeah.
Every 2 weeks, but you said every 3 months, sorry.
So every 2 weeks we run a workshop.
Yeah.
But we repeat the same workshop about 3 months or longer, if that makes sense. So like next Tuesday or tomorrow I'm running the YouTube workshop.
Yeah.
Right? And I won't run that again for at least 3 months, probably 6 months.
Got it. Okay, so
right? If you can't make it, which a lot of people can't, when I do it again, it's not fatiguing because they weren't there the first time.
Okay, just what I was referencing was like, if you look at Shelby, like Shelby does, you know, how to get into high ticket sales every Wednesday.
Yeah.
30,000 people on a webinar every Wednesday.
Holy shit.
Yeah, okay. but it's the same one. It's the same thing. So she's hitting the colder audiences. Now I'm just trying to like bounce around here a small bit, but I just think that's very interesting, right? Because that's like when you've like fucking truly cracked it, which is like you have the best one running. She's doing it live, like as you said with Q&A. every Wednesday in a jumper with a MacBook camera and no mic. She doesn't use a mic. Like, it's fucking
And so
hilarious.
so they're not getting fatigued though, seeing the same workshop every Wednesday?
No, because she's just like you. She's filling her audience with new people every single month or day,
Right.
and then the trickle at the bottom is not as significant. So there's an outweigh, which is very rare. But you kind of have that unique edge though, right? It's like you and her kind of have that ability to fill in the top more so than the bottom. So an idea of like where you're getting the most leg room, right? Because if you had a workshop that's obviously an outlier, then you could just repeat that model forever and ever and ever.